Well, the first win of the 2019 season for the Toronto Blue Jays comes at the helm of Matt Shoemaker's amazing 7-inning performance that is back-to-back outings from Blue Jays starting pitchers that give you 7 shutout innings. We know how great Marcus Stroman was yesterday in the season opener. However, the bats didn't come through. Today, Shoemaker was just as good, if not better. I mean, you could arguably say, you know, with the 3 less walks and all that. But, I mean, meanwhile, he had 7 strikeouts, gave up 2 hits, walked 2 in 7 innings. He was dynamite. I loved what we saw from Matt Shoemaker tonight in his first win as a Toronto Blue Jay. And it's great to see. By the way, also first as a Toronto Blue Jay, Charlie Montoyo, not only his first win as a Blue Jays manager, as a big league manager in general. Congratulations to Charlie Montoyo on his first big league victory as a manager. And I'll get to why. He made a really interesting decision going into the game, but it paid off for the Jays. We'll talk about that in a second here. Now, the story of yesterday's game was the great Stroman start, the Biagini strikeouts at the side in the inning. Giles doing great in his inning of work, but the offense nowhere to be found. And today, through the first 3 innings, it was the exact same thing. The Jays have 1 hit, and it was a triple in the first by Brandon Drury. And it was a leadoff triple. So he's at third with nobody out. And Matt Boyd strikes out the side. You can't get anything out of it. We're like, man, we can't buy a run to start this year. This is brutal. But then we go to the bottom of the 4th inning, and something happens that we have not seen yet this year. The Jays actually taking some pitches. Now, I got mad at them last year for taking too many pitches, but this year, you saw how many pitches, what was his name, Jordan Zimmerman had yesterday. He didn't throw many pitches because the Jays were chasing everything, and he was aggressive in making quality pitches. Today, through the first 3 innings, they were chasing a lot of curveballs by Matt Boyd. So, second time through the order, Randall Grichuk grinds in at bat and walks to start the inning. It's exactly what you want to see to start off an inning. Beautiful, leadoff base runner. Next up, Justin Smoak. He gets a curveball around the lower half of the plate, and he punches it right through the middle. He almost hit Matt Boyd, the starting pitcher. But it ends up going into center field. Smokey moves to first, Grichuk to second. Hey, we got runners at first and second now with nobody out. What can we do here? And then Teoscar Hernandez. And this guy is going to be a really interesting dude to watch this year. Because as Jays fans and opposing players, you know how to get him out. Curveballs low and out of the zone. And fastballs high. You know, and his first out of the ball game, I think it was a strikeout. High. Fastball. You know, I think that's the way it happened, or it was a curveball down. One of the two, because that's what happens. In his second at bat, though, he actually takes a couple pitches, ends up getting a 2-2 count, and gets a curveball. It was low, but it was a strike, and he hits it right through the middle like Smokey did, and now the bases are loaded. Randall Grichuk actually comes in to score in the play, and Justin Smoak goes up to second. We got the lead 1-0. We scored our first run of the season. Heck, it just felt like we won the World Series, and it's a 1-0 Jays lead, still with runners at first and second, nobody out. Let's keep this rolling here. Gurriel Jr. strikes out, and for me, I think he's pressing too much. He's trying too much to do the big thing, you know. And we don't need him to do the big thing. Look, this Blue Jays team is not going to be the Jays team of old where they hit 1 million home runs and that's how they win games. You're going to have to grind at bats. You're going to have to grind walks, sack flies, but maybe not bunt guys over, but because that doesn't happen anymore. You're going to see a lot of that kind of stuff, right? And to see Gurriel struggling early on, I mean, he'll find his way. You know, he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him. But he strikes out, and first and second, still 1 out. And you know what? At this point, I don't even care because we have a lead. I am really not even caring at this point. And Kevin Pillar pops up to the second baseman. I'm like, wow, as much as we got a 1-0 lead, first and second, 2 out, that's... You wanted, or first and second, nobody out. You wanted to get some more runs out of it. And now there's 2 out, and you need some clutch hits now. And as I said earlier, a late insertion to the lineup. Insertion, right? Billy McKinney. And a lot of people saying, what? Why? Lefty on lefty, and Matt Boyd's got a great curveball. What? Charlie, what are you doing, bud? Well, Billy McKinney always gives you a good at-bat. That was his reasoning. And Billy McKinney hits an infield single to second base. The reason I think it all happened the way it did is because Teoscar Hernandez running to second base, it was almost a bang-bang with him passing the ball and Harrison. Jerry Harrison, oh my goodness, what am I talking about? Anyways, because it was bang-bang as the fielder to the ball to the base runner was coming in. It didn't hit Hernandez, so it's not interference, but it's a hard play to him to make. He was more like looking at third base because McKinney's busting it down the line, and the bases are now loaded with 2 out for Freddie Galvis. And this guy early on has impressed me. We've been hearing, the Iron Man. That's what we've been hearing all this time because he's played 2 consecutive 162 game seasons. That's a lot of baseball. And last year, with all 162 games played, 9 errors all season long for Freddie Galvis. I mean, that's incredible, and that's on the defensive end. And we've seen that over the first 2 games, how he's been. And then, he gets an at-bat, and what we've noticed in the spring training, he gives you a good at-bat. And early in the season so far, he hasn't had much to show for it, but he's giving you good at-bats. And what does he do here? Gets in a good hitter's count, finds a fastball, and punches it up the middle for a base hit. Smokey scores, Hernandez scores, and McKinney is initially going to second base, but Mikey Matuk in center field bobbles it, boots it a couple times. McKinney ends up going to third base, and Luis Rivera's at third saying, "Get going, big fella, get going," and he's on his way home. Meanwhile, Freddie Galvis has a brain in his head because he sees the throw going home, so he's going to second, and instantly, they showed the replay, right as Harrison has it at second base, right as he has it at second, all right, Galvis is already around second heading for third. You know why he did that? Because he wants to draw that throw to third base where he can stop up, get in a rundown, and that run's going to come home to score. It's in the brain, and you love it. Meanwhile, they still throw it home. McKinney's safe at the plate. Galvis is heading to third. He slides in. He's safe at third. Clears the bases. Thanks, Mikey Matuk on the air, bud. Because meanwhile, it probably would have just been first and third, and we would have only had a 3-0 lead. But meanwhile, it's now a 5-0 game, and the Blue Jays are on a nice little roll here. And you love to see Freddie Galvis get to third base and get all pumped up, and you see the bench, they're all jacked up. You love it. In a team where there's not much expectations, to see emotion like this, it's nice to see. And the Jays put up a 5 spot in the inning, or excuse me, a 4 spot in the inning. My math's all over the place. And they got a 4-0 lead after having not scored for 13 innings and getting like 2 hits in that time. You break out for 4 runs on 4 hits in 1 inning. But you see what you see, no doubles. No extra base hits. Walk. Single. Infield single. Single. Single and an error leading to a ton of runs. Small ball, and it is beautiful to watch. And meanwhile, while these runs are coming home to score and all that, I got to talk about one defensive play. And I wrote it down so I'd remember it. Nick Castellanos hits a triple off the wall. I did not like Teoscar Hernandez's read on the ball. He ends up crashing against the wall, doesn't really make a play on the ball because he can. And then he has to chase it. Nick Castellanos ends up at third base, and we're all like, man, that's tough. And I think it was 1 out on the play, I think it was. And Miguel Cabrera's at the plate, and we're like, great. So, I mean, you're up 4-0, but, you don't want to give them any sort of breathing room. Miguel Cabrera hits a ball to third base. Nick Castellanos takes a couple steps toward home plate. As a third baseman, what do? We've seen in the past, people just get the ball and stand there and say, what are you going to do? And we're like, do something. And usually the runner scrambles back to third base, or they go home with it or whatnot. The right thing to do, when you learn that a guy's in no man's land and thinking to himself, oh God, you run right at him and you make him make a decision. And what did Brandon Drury do right as he got the ball? He runs directly at Nick Castellanos. He's like, all right, I'm going to go home. And they get him in a rundown, eventually get him out at the plate. On a tag, I think it was by Matt Shoemaker, ends up tagging him out. And that's that. It defeats the purpose. Now there's 2 out and a guy at first. Shoemaker gets the next guy, and it limits everything. because you hold on to the ball and you don't get in and out. Great, you just added a base runner. Where does it get you? And you still don't have 2 out. But amazing job by Brandon Drury, amazing instincts. And I got to say, through the first 2 games, yes, we've lost both. First things first. I mean, you get up 2 runs in 2 games. Not bad. And it was an extra inning home run. Not bad at all by the Toronto Blue Jays. The bullpen's been good, other than Daniel Hudson's cement mixer yesterday. But I mean, he'll be okay. He's got a live arm, and Danny Jansen's a young catcher trying to learn how to use guys, right? You know, and then we go to the 7th inning, and the Blue Jays start getting another little rally cooking here, and we're like, oh, this is nice to watch here. Freddie Galvis starts it off again with a single past Miguel Cabrera on the opposite side. You know what he did? He got a fastball in the outer half, and he takes it the other way. Beats Miguel Cabrera to lead off single. Then Luke Maile walks. Beautiful. Brandon Drury strikes out. Oh, well. And then Randall Grichuk grounds out to third base. That's okay. You still have second and third. You know, I think it was a little choppered by Grichuk, so they couldn't get any lead runners out, so they had to get him at first. Second and third, 2 out. You still have an opportunity. And Justin Smoke singles to the left side. Galvis scores. Maile scores, and it is a 6-0 Jays lead. Oh, boy, it's nice to see. Look at this. A walk. An infield single to move guy, or I guess a fielder's choice to move guys over, and then a 2-out single. Oh, it's beautiful. And then they coming out in the 8th inning. I would have loved to see Matt Shoemaker come out there, but I think because we had a 6-0 lead, and it's the first game of the year for him, and I mean, if I think it was still 4, I think he would have been out there. But because it was 6, they threw in old man himself, Javi Guerra, newest Blue Jay, of course, but he throws 2 innings. Doesn't allow a hit, doesn't walk a batter, gets a couple strikeouts, no damage there, and the Blue Jays get the 6-0 victory. The bullpen hasn't been taxed, the starters have been great, and today you got timely hitting. Good pitching, good defense, timely hitting. The recipe for wins, you saw it today. It's beautiful. Game 3 of the 4-game set, guys, goes tomorrow afternoon. It's a 3:07 first pitch at Rogers Center. Aaron Sanchez gets the ball for his first start of the season, and he looks to continue the role with starters right now, because Stroman and Matt Shoemaker have given 7 shutout innings in both games. So let's see what Aaron Sanchez can do tomorrow. Do not expect 7 shutout innings, but go in there hoping for a good start from Aaron Sanchez, because he's had a couple rough seasons with injury and inconsistency. You want to see him get up to a good start, and a good start does not mean a shutout performance, because we can't get in our heads because that's what we're expecting. You can't, because you're playing Detroit too. They're not a great team as well. All right, Aaron Sanchez on the mound for the Blue Jays. Spencer Turnbull on the mound for the Detroit Tigers in Game 3 of the 4-game set. All right, so that is going to do it for this one. You guys enjoyed the video, and you guys enjoyed the victory today. Smack that like button. I do appreciate that. Hit the subscribe button if you guys have not already. Comment down below. What'd you think of the game? What'd you think of the video? What'd you think of the Jays played today? Also, your thoughts on Freddie Galvis. I've been very impressed with him so far. And I really like the energy he brings, and the leadership, and the amazing defense. I mean, I haven't disliked anything he's done so far. Really like what I see from him. That's only 2 games, of course, but I love what we're seeing there early on from Freddie Galvis. I want to hear your guys' thoughts towards this team and all that stuff. And Evan and I will talk to you guys. Podcast edition is going to be probably next Wednesday, all right? So link is in the description for the podcast channel and for the podcast itself on iTunes. Twitter is also down below. Follow up, send me a DM, do all that great stuff, and I will talk to you guys. Here we go. Get this. All right, Toronto sports fans, we got a busy schedule for Saturday. Here we go. Leafs take on the Ottawa Senators in Ottawa tomorrow night, 7 o'clock puck drop. Frederik Andersen and Anders Nielsen are the expected starters in that game tomorrow night. No, excuse me. I'm so used to saying Frederik Andersen. Garrett Sparks has been the confirmed starter. Mike Babcock actually talked about that earlier this morning. I totally forgot about what he said there. Against Craig Anderson, both goalies are confirmed for tomorrow night. 7 o'clock puck drop there in Ottawa. And with the victory, or at least a point, the Toronto Maple Leafs will clinch a playoff spot. There you go. So I hope you guys are getting jacked up for tomorrow, because you go back to the time we clinched the playoffs when Austin Matthews, or was it when Austin Matthews in the first year? I don't know. We did it in Ottawa. I think it might have been no, excuse me. It was back when we faced Boston the first time around. We clinched the playoff spot in Ottawa. We look to do that again tomorrow night. And as for the Toronto Raptors, they play tomorrow as well. It's an 8 o'clock tip-off in Chicago, in the Windy City. And the Raptors, no Kawhi Leonard, no OG Anunoby tomorrow. Should be no problem, though, as the Raptors look for their third straight victory against three not-so-great teams. But you look to take care of business against those types of teams tomorrow night. And as for the Blue Jays, guys, holy smokes. Like I've said, they take on the Detroit Tigers in Game 3 of the 4-game set tomorrow afternoon, 3:07 first pitch at Rogers Center. Spencer Turnbull, Aaron Sanchez, all right, are on the mound for the Blue Jays tomorrow as the Jays look to it for the at least split of the series. They look for their second consecutive win tomorrow. And what are we going to see from Aaron Sanchez? We're going to have to wait and see. Thank you guys so much for listening and watching. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. We'll talk to you guys then.